I was counting my money late one night, when my eyes beheld a most frightful sight. There's only 55 million in my account, so I hatched a plan to get a larger amount.
This was a crash,
War cause a monster crash.
a monster crash,
Let's make loads of cash.
a monster crash,
Get filthy rich in the flash.
a monster crash,
And I'll increase my stat. I've got a great big mansion in the North Southwest, an ancestral home, and a London address. I've a hedge fund company, money offshore, but it's just not enough. I still want more.
this was a crash,
War cause a monster crash.
a monster crash,
Let's make loads of cash.
a monster crash,
Get filthy rich in the flash.
a monster crash,
And I'd increase my
this
stash.
was a crash, a monster crash, a monster crash, a monster crash.
What's wrong with you? Hey everyone.
Hey guys.
Welcome to a new live stream. Thought we'd kick it off a little bit differently today. Came across that video a couple days ago and I couldn't stop laughing at it.
It was funny.
So, what better place than to share it with you guys live if you haven't seen it yet already. So, hi everyone who's already here tuning in the live stream. If you're here, go ahead and say hi. Always great to see you guys. So, for those of you who are new and you are enjoying these live streams, I encourage you guys to leave a like, to share this one out. By doing so, you certainly help this channel to get more reach and these videos specifically to get reach also so more people can check it out and participate in the live stream. So as always, today I'm going to kick it off with a few crypto stories and Toby here. I always forget the introductions.
It's all right. They don't want to hear it.
I'm Heidi. This is Toby.
I'm Toby.
And he's going to...
And I got the good news. So
Yeah, he's smiling.
the bearer of good news.
So we're going to kick it off. He's going to follow up with some like global economic updates. So
Yeah.
we're always in the know here. So, hey everyone, real quick, let me say, hey, Dan Cryptid, always here. Bon dia. Soka, I don't know how you pronounce your last name, sorry. Blockchain First from Germany, the Tasman. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Paulo, I finally saw you now, Paulo. Hi. Love that you're tuning in. Hey, everyone. You are here.
Paulo in there is actually
He's a good friend of
my
ours.
tow partner.
Yeah.
So he catches like 50, 60, 70 foot waves. So he's
Another one of
one
those crazy guys.
Yeah.
So
South Africa.
South Africa,
Nice.
one of my favorite countries. Like
Philippines.
top 3, easy.
Sweet.
You're the bearer of big news. Yes, that's
Of big
true.
news, yes. Boy, is there some big news coming up. I can't wait.
All right, so I am doing things slightly differently how I navigate with the background. So if it's not completely smooth, try to bear with me here.
Unacceptable.
Okay, let's see. There we go. Oh, let me get that off. Okay. So what I want to talk about, the first 2 articles here is great because it's really, I feel, a better representation of like what this crypto space should be about, what people should be paying attention to with all this hype of things like DeFi or of say Binance, for example, just these 2 first articles I'm talking about. This one in particular, also before I forget, all of these links to like all, if not all, like 99% of the links to the stories that we're covering today are found in the video description. So you guys can click on those and read through them as we're going through them as well. So this article talks about central banks, a bad influence on decentralized finance. It's kind of a misleading title because from what I got away from it, pretty much was saying, this whole space of DeFi is really just trying to recreate traditional finance, but put like a decentralized twist on it. And even even most of those twists are failing that decentralized aspect. I did a recent video, my last video, I believe, was covering my thoughts on DeFi, decentralized finance. So if you guys are curious, go ahead and check that out. But so it was great seeing an article like this speaking about how, it's not quite right. Like, you can do a little bit more disruption, have a little bit more innovation with this whole open source, decentralized ecosystem than just trying to recreate a system that has been failing people really, and profiting, the big banks in such a way. So, however this DeFi plays out in the future, I think that's something definitely to pay attention to, not to just recreate the same old, as that we've seen before. So next we have, is it working? This article is talking about the Binance Smart Chain, which I believe is like a side chain to Binance, implementing some kind of like a DPoS protocol, very similar to EOS. And there's actually some great quotes in this article from people who are really skeptical about the white paper that was released. So it's great. It's like not everyone is buying into the hype of just because Binance, who does have maybe unfortunately, but it is what it is, a fairly big sway in this cryptocurrency space. So to see people who are, openly skeptical about it, because that is how things improve. And that is how, you kind of keep things in line as best you can, is being open to discussion. And that's kind of what open source, life is all about, learning from others and their input.
And they do have a huge sway. I mean, just putting a brand new coin on Binance, that thing is going to pop like, 10, 20, 30% in one day.
Yeah. Like Hive actually.
Like Hive.
Is
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
But yeah, speaking of their sway and like the amount of money that they can put into marketing or research or whatever it may be, other kind of infrastructure to support the proliferation of that brand and the expansion of it. Like they earned more in one quarter in 2019 than like one, I can't remember which, was like a big investment bank. So they're on a fairly profitable trajectory, and so they definitely have the backing to kind of make whatever they want to make. But at the same time, it's good to have this kind of critique. So like a lot of people are just calling it another Ethereum killer, which like there's been so many. Also
never gets old.
Yeah.
You'll never run out of money or run out of Ethereum killers ever.
Yeah. We're going to talk about Ethereum later on also, but this quote also saying centralized chains miss the point every time. The point is not to offer cheaper transactions. Anyone can do this using Amazon Web Services, but to foster a community-driven ethos of builders who enjoy working together without a centrally derived mandate. And also, this one's great. Once you bring a developer back into a centralized sandbox, the game plan is to usually bring an existing Web 2.0 app to the chain, promote it as decentralized, and fade into irrelevance. So again, it's kind of like that aspect of missing the point of what innovation can be done and just trying to like reinvent things that have already proven successful, which there is some logic to that, but it's not exactly, pushing this space forward in any way. It's just kind of mirroring what's already been done. All right. Now up. Grayscale. So talking a little bit about Ethereum, I know today's video, I titled it, "Are You Buying the Ethereum / Bitcoin Rumors?" It's that age-old phrase, buy the rumor, sell the news. Ethereum might be a rumor, but Bitcoin's isn't a rumor. The Bitcoin halvening, it is set hard-coded to occur.
2 weeks.
Regardless that
14 days
if
and 10
anyone's ready
hours,
for it, it's happening. So it's kind of like that,
nice.
Age-old Bitcoin doesn't care. It's going to keep going.
Yeah.
But so bringing it to Ethereum, you know, they're announcing that they're going to have Ethereum 2.0 in July, so you can stake Ethereum. And reflecting that, Grayscale, which is a huge institutional investor, has bought half of all Ethereum mined in 2020. So we know there's some centralized supply there.
Yeah. And now I heard that they are going to force people to lock in their coins. Is
to
that
stake
true?
Ethereum? I don't know. I haven't.
Okay, I haven't read up on this.
It's
but
been
I hear
delayed
that
so many times. I haven't really invested that whole lot of energy into learning exactly how it's going to go down.
So I mean, but you have to make sure that if you're staking your coins, that you do benefit from the rise in price, because there have been some coins that I've staked before where you don't get the rise. They turned out to be scams. The BitConnect one, I remember buying that at
scammy indications with that one
at like 30 cents, and then next thing my friend calls me up. He's like, "Hey, this BitConnect thing is at like $150." I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, I haven't really. There were so many coins coming out at that time. I had no idea what it was. And then I'm like, oh, this is kind of a scam, you know, you should watch out. And so what was happening is they were giving out a percentage of profit every day, but then they would keep your coins. They would lock your coins in for what, like 3 months or something like that. And then you would get the same amount of dollar amount.
Yeah.
Or BitConnect. Yeah.
Because you
by that
stake
time
Bitcoin.
it was done.
So what they were doing is taking your Bitcoin, claiming to have this miracle trading bot that gave guaranteed returns, and then they would pay you in whatever they would choose to pay you. And then you could either choose to take that profit or lock that back up and increase your position, get a better... And so people were getting really greedy. And...
Really greedy.
It had all of the signs of a pyramid scheme. It had the referral program. That was like multi-tier referral program. The multi-tier that ends up looking like a pyramid. The lockup period, the guaranteed returns, and then as we all saw that one play out, the house of cards fell over. And now we have that beautiful meme of what's his name?
Carlos Matos.
Carlos Matos.
If you haven't seen that, you should YouTube that one.
Plenty of them there. So everyone again in the live chat. Hey, Jan, good to see you here. Dee Dee, thank you for taking part. Thanks, Brian Richards. We're going to keep it up. Okay. So Grayscale, this biggest institutional investor, is, trying to get what they can to before this, if it does happen, because it has been delayed quite a few times.
A lot.
Definitely not holding my breath. It tends to get delayed last second, and July is still a little bit away. But Grayscale is taking the hint that this could be a good position to take up. So are you guys purchasing ETH? I mean, you don't have to disclose that in the comments, but anyway, or Bitcoin before the halving event. This age-old question of buy the rumor, sell the news. In regards to the halving event, again, I did a video about what most people aren't saying about the halving event and how it could play out slightly differently than the typical graph situation.
But it doesn't matter if you are cost averaging.
Exactly.
That's what Heidi's been saying for years.
It's this beautiful way to avoid the stress of trying to time the market. Time the top.
Which 98% of people do not time it correctly.
Dollar cost average. Have a plan. Don't get too greedy. Know when you hit your spot to take some profits. It can be a really stress-free way to interact and be successful in this cryptocurrency space. All right. Now, let's see. This one. Ether futures activity grows ahead of July protocol update. Another just indication of, people placing bets on the future price of Ethereum. They're thinking it's going to go up, and it's reflecting in the crypto derivatives markets in the form of futures. So BitMEX is having a lot of activity there. Something to definitely pay attention to here. If it does roll out in July, that is huge news for Ethereum. Switching from proof of work 2, proof of stake, allowing people to stake their coins. We don't know the minimum required to be able to stake.
I heard it was
if there's
from
a lockup
50
period
to 100 coins.
Yeah, I remember
you'll be able to pull them as well.
Yeah,
if you don't have 50 Ethereum.
And that's another thing. It's like Ethereum is a pretty well-developed network with a huge number of developers who are great at building kind of infrastructures that support whatever it is that Ethereum, the attributes of the Ethereum blockchain. So rather than these random new young proof of stake coins that you're trying to find, whatever wallet you can to stake it in, I think Ethereum will hopefully, they've been talking about it long enough, so hopefully they have something planned to help support this. But yeah, I'm definitely anticipating staking pools. A lockup period is pretty typical. Like, for example, Cosmos, I believe, is like a 20-day lockup period.
I think 11, right?
I think it was 20.
20, okay.
Yeah. So there's like lockup periods, and then there's like maybe a timeline where you have to wait before you start seeing your staking rewards. For example, Tezos claimed to be like 40 days, but I don't think it was necessarily that long. But I'm going to be doing a video on how to earn an income in crypto using things like staking coins, not using lending, what I consider to be a more secure, safer way to earn a passive income in crypto. So if you guys are interested in that, I have a Patreon page. You can go to patreon.com/cryptotips. I believe the link is also available down below in the video description. Join the CT Club, and you'll get access to things like the crypto portfolio, trades that we do, free classes, like first access to these live classes that I'm just now starting to do. No one has ever had this information before.
And I should say the last trade, like one of our coins that we recommended is up like 30%.
Yeah.
In a couple weeks. So try doing that at your brokerage account. Not going to happen.
Yeah. So in a time like this,
I'm going to hop in on Ether as well. Okay. So with Ether, like I think a lot of the reason why they've had so much trouble in the past is because they've made things so complicated. So that's why I'm a little concerned about their wallet, like when they come out. So I just hope that they don't make it too complicated. They need to have somebody that just goes, okay, let's make it simple, because like Bitcoin code is simple. You know what I mean? So when you start adding things on, it gets more and more complicated. And especially when you start adding in like government structures around you as well, because then you have pressures from all different sides. So the coins that are the least complicated are probably the ones that are going to last longer and definitely are going to be more secure. So you're not going to have as many attack vectors, which is like when a coin has weaknesses in them. When a coin has weaknesses in them, it's good for hackers because they hack and they figure it out before like the developers do. But then the developers, if they haven't gotten completely wiped out, they'll fix that hack, that attack vector. So it's kind of like breaking a bone. So when you break a bone, and it heals the same spot, it's not going to break at the same place. So anyways, I had to jump in there
because there's a lot of people who try to say like, oh, their coin is the best, it's the strongest, most secure.
Blah, 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 blah,
You shouldn't be afraid of identifying the weaknesses, because ultimately the network and, the security of the wallets and things will be all the more better for it. And in the long run, you'll last longer. And you kind of want to tackle those sooner rather than later. Yeah. So that's where being open source really is beneficial.
Let me say one more thing. When you have a coin, when you see a coin and you go on their website and they say, this is the best, this is the most secure, blah, 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 probably isn't. And it's probably a lot of red flags right there. So I would just swipe to find the next good one, because they're just full of crap, I think.
Nomad Capitalist, Andrew Henderson, he actually had a really good, he was speaking about countries, saying like, your country is not number one at everything. It's probably not number one at anything, and that's kind of like, it's a reality check, and it's true.
Yeah.
And it's like a marketing scheme and maybe propaganda for countries. But with crypto too, you can get sucked up into, everyone's hyping this coin. It's all the potential that it has. And that's just kind of what it is potential. And so you have to test it and see what it's actually made of and how it actually scales.
Bitcoin never advertised itself of being the best, strongest, everything else. But look at it now.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It can't say it's
Mic
the
drop.
first. It has. They can't deny it's the first. But
whatever.
Not to get too maximalisty there.
Okay.
But so anyway, big news could be coming up for Ethereum. Keep an eye on that. I think that's definitely worth paying attention to. Now, I think it's always good to be paying attention to things like scams. Especially with like this, it's just going to keep coming back to DeFi a little bit, especially for this, is most of these DeFis are either trading bots that, again, very similar to BitConnect, are claiming to have guaranteed returns or something. But in this case, California scammers were caught, they held like a ICO illegally kind of, and they're promising their investors a certain amount of returns from this like trading bot that they patented.
Anything like that before.
They're a dime a dozen here in the crypto space. And so as new people are coming into this space, I think it's always worth it to be reminded of this.
Yeah.
Again, like some of the lies that they were saying is to make themselves more maybe legitimate than they were, claiming to have sold or to raise $54 million from 34,000 investors. But reality, they raised $1.9 million from less than 2,500 participants. And all of their proceeds, of course, ended up going into different cryptocurrencies or into their personal accounts, which they cashed out. And the SEC got them. But so I'm not sure when they held this ICO, but it really doesn't matter. So just anyone who's ever trying to guarantee you of, guaranteed returns, just walk away, because there are other ways to earn money in crypto that don't involve promises that are more likely to be beneficial for you in the long run. And then you're not, super paranoid about, oh, is this a scam?
Well, this is kind of like it's something similar in like real life is like police. So they go out and they arrest one guy that has a little baggie of coke or whatever. I don't know. And then, there's thousands and thousands of more, that you're not going to get rid of them. So it's kind of like this. So the SEC gets one. Yeah, they're the hero, and there's 10,000 coming up. There's 10,000 more scams. So there's always going to be a scam. That's why Heidi's here. It's because she knows the scams and what's not the scam. So yeah.
Your best bet. There's no guarantees in this space, but if you can remember these simple little tips, hopefully it'll spark the red flag, detector in your head, and you can listen to that.
Definitely.
Let's see. Let me get out of this one. See, what's this one? Okay.
So North Korea.
Speaking of scams, there's some rumors going around about the status of Kim Jong-un and his...
He turned into a vegetable. I wonder if he turned into a broccoli or spinach or something.
Hardy green broccoli. Anyway, a lot of speculation now about if something did happen to him, what is going to happen to the 670 million plus cryptocurrencies that they had hacked or mined. I don't know how exactly they acquired all this crypto, but some people are now saying that they're going to be dumping it on the market if he's dead because they're going to be desperate.
Because they have inside information on North Korea.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
But, if North Korea knew anything, they'd probably hold on to that.
They got 670 million out of it. So,
yeah, I'm kind of skeptical that they would know how to hack anything, though. I don't know.
No way. You never know.
Have you seen that movie, The Interview?
Yes.
That's what I keep thinking of. It's really sad, but... the state of affairs there and what we might really think about it.
Computers, I'm not sure how their internet works over there because I know it's closed off a lot, but I'm sure that, there's some really smart people out there that could figure that out. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that being dumped on the market.
Okay, well, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
So if it does happen...
600 million will be eaten up like nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And which brings me perfectly to my next story, being Hodlers are unfazed. Hallelujah. So
that is so true.
Yeah.
So true. I couldn't care less if that thing drops $2,000, but by the time we get off the show, I'd just, whatever, eat something, go for a walk on the beach. Wouldn't even faze me. We're so used to this stuff.
So the statistics here are saying that the amount of Bitcoin that have not moved out of wallets for the past 2 years over the past year have increased by 10%, I believe. Yeah, 10.4%. So more people are holding for at least 2 years. Not to mention the fact that they're not selling during this recent volatility. They are taking this as an opportunity to purchase. And by judging by the comments that are often said in this live chat with you guys, you are that crowd. So congratulations, and keep on acquiring and keep on holding. Because as Toby, as we morph into what he's going to be talking about, it's going to be proving, I think, very useful for you. So,
I mean, you have 10% of people holding. Then you have, I don't know what the stats are on this, but how many people have lost their wallets, don't have any access to their coins. So you wipe that. That's like a quarter of the coins out there. And then you have more people that are going to want to hold because, where else are you going to put your money in? Housing that's about to crash? No. Stocks, which are completely manipulated, have no bearing on any reality at all, and are, whatever.
Well, so, I mean, if you're not watching these live streams, you might not know that. You might think, oh, everything will go perfectly back to normal, like nothing happened. Like global trade didn't shut down for 2 months. Yeah. So...
Some people don't know this.
I know.
This is why we're here.
You guys got to hit the like button, hit the share button, especially if you think this is valuable information for other people to learn. Definitely appreciate that. So, with that, I'm
the fun stuff.
Pass it over to Toby.
Okay. So, 26.4 million people now have filed for unemployment. That, if you think that's a lot, I mean, what they're not even talking about here is the amount of people that are really unemployed. Okay, so the unemployment, the jobless claims or whatever, like when you're self-employed, you cannot claim jobless claims. So, like, how many people are unemployed? You know what I mean? Like, it could be another 50% on that. It could be 36 million, 40 million. I don't know. I have no idea. So that's like messed up. This is like crazy. This is 5 weeks. 5 weeks. I don't even know how to like explain to you how nuts this is, but this is in a country that, had a so-called 3% unemployment rate. Well, that's being shattered for sure. Like, I don't know how statisticians are going to make this into a good thing or whatever, spin this article. But, this is really, really bad. And we're going to get more into, what else is happening. Not just unemployment, but there's some crazy stuff happening. Okay, so... Global container shipments set to fall 30% in the next few months. Okay, so that means there's no trade. The economy's gone. There's nothing. You're also having crude oil fall as well. Which is that's actually a good thing.
While we were doing our live stream last week, right after as we ended that, what did it go do? Pretty much zero, didn't it?
Oh yeah, it went to negative $50. That's just the futures market. But I mean, like right now, oil is at down 26%. Crude again. So it went down to negative 50. Then it rose to $25+, and then now it's back down to $12.58. So yeah, it's all over the place. And as you see what I talk about soon, you'll see where it's actually headed. But with this said, shipments are set to fall 30% over the next few months. So through second quarter, Goldman Sachs and the Fed were saying pretty much, hey, unemployment could be 33% by second quarter. So you're going to get unemployment, and that means more people aren't going to be able to afford anything. So this shipment container, these shipments are going to drop even faster, because more and more people don't need anything, or they can't afford anything. So
and also just speaking to like what's being reported, and you can't really trust, especially mainstream media. They're a huge bottleneck for information. So the best you can do, that you can always ever do, is look at what's happening in your own community with your own friends and family, where they are. Ask them how it's doing for them. Kind of do like a grassroots, kind of research to see if it's true to what's being reported.
Okay, so next we are moving into the end game. 27 tankers anchored off California, hundreds off Singapore as oil industry shuts down. Let me find this on my thing and I'll read this off really quick. Okay, this is really interesting because what it talks about is how much it costs the U.S. shale companies to actually get oil out of the ground, like break-even costs. It's saying here, this is crazy, but prices were, shale break-even prices were around $60 to $80. Okay, it's at 13 right now. Like, they're done. This is going to cause so much unemployment. Like, you think that the 26.4% unemployment that we just had, that number is high? This is nothing. This is absolutely nothing. The economy's still shut down. This is going to go, and it's going to speed up as well, because the longer you keep this shut down, there's so many things that will shut down around it as well, like supply chains, that will cause more unemployment. And yeah, it's a horrible snowball effect.
But you know what? It's like on the other side of this coin of like how everything, seems to be really bad, is it is an opportunity, whether it be how you invest or if your business that you do, run works for this perfectly, where like, say you have a YouTube channel maybe, or say you have a takeaway service for food, or say you have a drive-in theater for movies. It's like some businesses will, be continuing to function despite what's happening. If you have things that you produce locally that isn't reliant on global imports or anything. So yeah. It's kind of like there's always a little bit of balance happening. So also if you guys are suffering from this, if you need to try to figure out how it's going to inspire a lot of people to make a pivot. So hopefully, be more efficient or be more flexible, get out of the rut. Definitely
flexible. So the more flexible you are, the better off you'll be. So if you're like, I'm just going to hold on to my 401k, or, I'm going to hold on to my houses, if you have a couple houses or whatever, like, and through a depression, I mean, I'm expecting houses, just for me, my personal opinion, I think it's many areas they'll drop 70%. I can't imagine them not. I would be shocked if they don't. So, and this is like in Western countries, even where we live in Portugal, I mean, people are pulling out of their what you call escrow or whatever, so a lot of people are doing that. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of opportunity as well. Like what happened, for instance, during the Great Depression, there was more millionaires made during that time than any other time in history. So I think it's good to take advantage of that.
Sorry, do you know a Nixon Rexel? He's saying, Toby, we never get to talk.
Sorry, man.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding the comment. Hi, Nixon.
Nixon, hey, what's up, buddy? I'm brain farting.
Our stream is freezing sometimes. Sorry for that. There's really not much I can do for the stream quality at this point.
Also, you and Toby travel a lot. Do you have any opinion on which countries might be the best for a retired U.S. citizen who would like to be able to trade in crypto? Portugal! Portugal is a great thing.
Yeah, but one thing you're always going to need to remember is that as a U.S. citizen, you will always be required to report to them. Even though you're living in a different country, that could work out. Definitely consult a tax professional in each country and see what they know. I'm not a tax professional, but Portugal has certainly proven to be crypto friendly to a point. They've at least announced that as individual traders, like for your profits or capital gains, it is tax free. If you're running a business that accepts crypto as a form of payment, that is a taxable event. They haven't really laid out a lot of regulation or kind of guidelines for taxes with crypto. Honestly, a lot of people here don't really know too much about cryptocurrencies. Which
is a good thing too for the government here, because they don't understand what's going to happen to crypto markets. So take advantage of it while it happens, while you can.
Yeah. I'd like to think that it's because they're open-minded about it. So we'll see.
I don't think they know about it. I honestly don't think they know much about it.
The tax authority has come out twice publicly saying, no, we will not tax crypto profits as an individual. Twice.
I know. I think a lot of, okay, I'll leave it at that.
Okay, sorry. As we get into a little bickering over that.
Just something in me tells me a lot of people don't know about crypto. They don't know how to deal with taxes. The U.S. hardly knows how to deal with tax. They don't know how to deal with taxes. They don't know a thing about taxes, especially the U.S. government. Crypto. So, just listen to some of the SEC hearings on crypto.
Oh my gosh, it's so sad.
You just it's like, oh my gosh, these people are 10 years behind.
And they hold so much power. It's so sad and scary.
They hold a lot of power, but they don't if your enemy doesn't understand where you are headed, beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, Kyle Bass, this guy's let me try to find this. This is crazy. Okay, so Saudi Arabia is going to send 50 million barrels of oil in a couple, I think this was probably in a week and a half. And the U.S. is like, please don't send this. We have way too much oil. We have an oil glut. And so they're probably going to block them. They're thinking of blocking them. So Kyle Bass got famous in 2008 for making billions on the subprime. Yeah. So, people listen to him. Some things I agree with him. Some things I'm like, no, not a chance. Okay. So he says the Saudis and Russians have declared war against the U.S. shale energy companies, which, by the way, break-even point $60 to $80. I misinformed you guys last week, and the year before I said $40 to $50, and now I'm finding out $60 to $80. Plus, they're so leveraged. Oh my gosh, because they've had to borrow and for their operation costs and all that. Talk about a U.S. the Fed is just licking their chops at this price. They're gonna buy up the entire shale industry. I can't imagine them. They have to. Otherwise, the U.S. will have no more oil industry, which, by the way, is the largest producer of oil in the world. Okay, so storage full, largest glut in history. Saudis are sending us 50 million barrel oil bomb. How negative will June crude go?
It's not a literal bomb. It's just a whole bunch of oil that's going to flood the market in the U.S. and tank the price.
So, right now you're seeing oil down 26%. It's just not going to hold. But I will show you what the U.S. is going to do. And you might not have heard this stuff before, but I will switch to the next one.
Oh, hold on. I'm typing. I can't type very fast on this for some reason. Okay. It's cool seeing everyone in Portugal in the comments. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, bom dia. Or
You guys know what it's at. We're kind of letting the secret out a little bit.
We are.
For crypto, and Bitcoin. Okay.
Okay. So now you're going to have countries that really want the price of oil to be up make these false claims, completely empty. They all converse with each other. Iran military chief warns its forces will destroy U.S. warship if threatened in the Persian Gulf. So, fake.
Hashtag fake news.
Well, it's not fake news. It was real, but it's fake.
The intentions are different.
Completely empty. Saying. This ain't gonna happen. Not a chance. So, on shifting gears. All right. 40% of San Diego residents turned to food banks last month.
Stopping grounds.
Yeah, I used to live there, and it's getting like this is 5 weeks into it, okay? And I'm going to explain to you pretty soon why I think that this could last for a little bit, but probably can't last for a very long time. Where are we going?
Am I messing you up? Sorry.
I have no idea where we're going.
This one?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, these are kind of mixed up a little bit, but okay. Thousands of U.S. businesses will be closed permanently. So you're going to see more and more people at these food lines, and it's just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse. So you're essentially going to have. I didn't write down the article, but you're essentially going to have universal basic income.
We spoke about that last
time.
time.
So what's going to happen is the government's going to pay. They're already planning on doing this. They're going to pay a certain amount, which would be more money than currency, than what they would get paid at their job. So say for instance they got paid like $1,500, $2,000 a month at their job, but the government gives them $2,500 a month. Well, why would you go back to work? So that's where we are headed. Mm-hmm. That's going to happen. Like, this isn't like a thought, but this is actually happening right now.
Maybe at face value that seems like a good thing, but why do you think that's not? To get paid more?
Well, because
you have to think of where it's coming from.
Oh, well, you're not only going to have a huge percentage of your population relying on government, mm-hmm. Which is total socialism. You're also going to have tons more people out of work. Like all these businesses that will create things for people vanished. So you're not going to have any businesses really in the U.S. like if this happens. So that's where it could happen. What could happen with this? And there's many other different consequences. I'm not going to get into it right now, but like there's so many different things that can happen. This is just like the tip of the iceberg. So yeah, it's really dangerous road they're going on. So some of the measures that even I just threw this in here because the measures that governments will go through to clamp down on people and to kill the U.S. Constitution. I mean, like already you don't have a 13th, you don't have a 4th, you rarely have a 1st because of all these shutdowns, the amendments. The second, it's I mean, no disrespect, but it's kind of useless having a Second Amendment right now because back in 1776, back in the late 1700s, early 1800s, people had the reason why the Second Amendment was put into place was because to take over out of control government. Well, the people needed to have weapons that were equal to pretty much as soldiers. You know what I mean? So now that, we're barely able to have, I mean, I'm not, but like people in the U.S. are barely able to have an AR-15 or whatever. Well, the military has fighter jets and bunker busters and
robots that can set in.
Yeah, that will annihilate an entire city within a split second. Like, good luck trying to take it over, you know?
And that doesn't really add up.
And then I hear people saying like, okay, well, you know, the military would never turn on its citizens. Every time in history, it happens. You know, there's a way that governments will work that it's, you know, do you think like in Nazi Germany, like I'm not comparing the U.S. to Nazi Germany, but I'm just saying, do you think in Nazi Germany, like they just woke up one day like, yeah, we're going to kill a bunch of people? No, it didn't happen like that. Slowly. Like people are people. Like you're no different. You know what I mean? Like psychologically, you're not any different than them. Okay. You haven't chosen to listen to government and to that extreme, but people will do that. And, you know, so that worries me. And yeah, so this is just one extreme measure right here where they're going to seize landlord's property to try to collect rent for trying to collect rent during the coronavirus, which is crazy.
So they're trying to like write off the collection of rent for primary residences up until a month after the emergency situation has been called off by the president. But like whether this is coming from someone up there who is trying to do this, or this congresswoman is just really scared. But
the fact it's even made news.
Yeah, it's just another example of whether it be fear or another power grab of constitutional rights are constantly being challenged and eroded.
Yeah, well, look at the TSA. They're not even a federal organization. Or, they don't even have to make an oath to the U.S. Constitution. Huh. Okay, so U.S. hospital. Okay, so I'm not that scared of this virus. I'm not. I don't think neither Heidi is either.
Even us just talking about this is threatening this video to be deleted, by the way. Thanks to YouTube censorship. So if we're not saying exactly what the World Health Organization advises, it's pretty much going to get deleted. But
yeah.
Saying that.
Well, I mean,
anyway,
I'm not that scared because I know the numbers are completely false. That are, you know, they say, oh, you know, this and so number is getting worse and worse and worse. Well, let's go into that article. U.S. hospitals getting paid more to label cause of death as coronavirus. Okay, so what happens is hospitals are struggling right now. So in order to, you know, they want money. Because a lot of hospitals, people aren't going into hospitals to do their you know, whatever, their normal stuff.
Because that's where all the virus is.
And like even like cancer patients are having a hard time getting
scheduling
appointments. How many people are going to die from that? Okay, so with that said, you know, hospitals are getting paid $13,000 to say, oh, we have a coronavirus patient. $13,000 per patient. So I mean, if you're struggling, or let me add on to this. Okay, and to put them on a ventilator, it's $33,000. So you can imagine like hospitals kind of like, hey, you should probably get on a ventilator. You know, you're having a little bit of trouble breathing. Oh, coronavirus, put them on a ventilator, $30,000. Yeah, this is what's going to happen. People are people. You know, they see how much they're struggling. And they're going to do what it takes. And they're going to put fake numbers on. And this is all around. This isn't just in the U.S. This is all around. So this is why I'm not that scared. You know, obviously I'm not trying to be insensitive to people there are people that are dying. I get it. But, you know, from the more and more research that I do, from non-governmental places, I'm seeing that the people that are dying are the people that had underlying causes, you know?
They're already compromised.
Yeah, they're already compromised. Also...
Not saying that it's not like a terrible virus to have, but it's not this like we don't believe it to be super deadly. It's not like 1 in 10 people are dying from it. You know, it's not like super healthy people who would otherwise would have gotten over the flu very easily are dying from coronavirus. Like they already have autoimmune deficiencies or respiratory issues.
And I don't know, I'm not a virologist or whatever, but I do know that, if you're sanitizing everything around your house, wherever you go, and you're wearing a mask everywhere you go, so you have no germs whatsoever, do you know what that's going to do to your immune system? Like, I'm sorry, like, I can't imagine it being very good for your immune system, because your body is created in a way where it adapts that way. It builds its immune system. That's why, like, kids are on the ground playing or whatever and picking their noses and putting it in their mouths and whatever. And,
they eat it.
Yeah, whatever. But that's just the way kids do it. But there's a reason for that, because it actually builds their immune system, so that they can have a normal acting immune system. So, I mean, do what you want. I'm not wearing a mask. I'm not wearing gloves.
I feel like if you are very scared of being compromised, stay indoors.
Yeah.
If you're not, you should practice. You should have the ability to practice your liberty of going out in a responsible way, which is kind of like the script of what
and we did buy masks about 2 months ago. We saw what was happening. We saw
Toby, Mr. Forward Thinker.
I saw what was happening about 2 months ago. I'm like, all right, we got to get masks.
And even then, it took a long time for them to come in.
But the reason why I got it, because I didn't know how bad it was going to be. I'm like, just in case, if it's really bad, at least I'm protecting my family.
Which is exactly the state of mind that we do for a lot of decisions that we make.
Everything, especially crypto.
Or a lot of aspects. So well, just in case this could happen. Not like we're super paranoid, but it's good to be aware.
I mean, for me, I'm just like,
we
got to do it now. Stop everything.
You take on the paranoia.
If there's a coin that I find and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got it. Like, I think we really need to look at this coin, and I'll stare at it for a month straight or whatever, read all about it, and then make my decision. So, okay. So just to read, like kind of back up what I said. The 500-bed U.S. Navy hospital ship Comfort is leaving New York City after treating just 179 patients in 3 weeks. They thought this was going to be a horrible thing where, hospital beds are going to be all taken up and people are going to be dying in the streets, whatever. Now they're realizing it's not as bad as people thought it was. So you come up with your own decision on that. Okay, so I wanted to go over this. This is a little like out of the way, like off topic a little bit. I want to go back to the economy.
Sorry.
Okay, so American savings, 0% or 45% have 0% saved.
No savings whatsoever.
That's it. And
they're living paycheck to paycheck, or they have debt.
What's that?
We're this way. Other way.
Okay. 24% have less than 1,000. Okay. 17% have about 1 to 5,000. 5% have about 5 to 10,000.
It's pretty similar from
4% have
5 to 50,000 is pretty similar.
Yeah. And 6% have 50,000 or more saved. But you have 45% of Americans like that have zero.
That's a scary situation.
That's crazy. Like this isn't good. I mean, back in 1929, Americans had savings. They did. They weren't in, and they weren't
hyper encouraged to take on debt.
Yeah, they weren't in incredible amounts of debt. There wasn't something called subprimes and banks trying to lend out money or currency to citizens, and that have nothing. It wasn't like that. That's why that's one of the reasons why it recovered so fast. Here we have 45% that have zero savings. Like, they're going to have to rely on the government, and that's going to really help out with the UBI or universal basic
it's like
income.
a huge welfare state, really.
That's it.
And what does welfare do? That doesn't encourage,
Doesn't encourage, like, America, back in the 50s and even back in the 20s and 10s, they were like making things like the combustion, like the Model T. I mean, what Ford made was amazing, and you had so much innovation and productivity back then. And now you're probably not going to have too much. That's going to be shifted, I think. Which worries me because, that's where I grew up, and it sucks to see it that way. So okay, let's move on a little bit to the case for what's going to happen with probably daily life for you guys. Okay, they're considering testing 36 million Americans every day. And they're probably going to up that maybe a little bit. But they're coming out with, I'm looking at more and more articles where they're going to be testing tons and tons, like millions and millions of people every day, just in case because if you go to work, you'll need to be tested. Or if you go to, you go fly somewhere, you're going to have to be tested. So there's some crazy measures that are going to happen. I've been hearing. A lot of plastic. Yeah, but I've been hearing that, like, for instance, airlines, they are going to be possibly getting rid of the tickets, like, the paper tickets, because nobody wants to touch tickets anymore. So there's definitely going to be electronic. I've been hearing as well from, I love airplanes. I just, that's one of my passions is like how they fly and everything. So I subscribe to a couple of channels that talk about flying and how planes work and whatnot. So I was watching a discussion between one pilot and one very famous YouTuber that loves to fly. And they were saying like that they were thinking of getting rid of the middle seat between like for like international flights or something like that, or like making space between the two people. Also, as we discussed last week, Emirates is taking blood samples before you fly. So they're going to take your blood before you fly, so that they can test it really quick to see if you have a virus. Also, as far as so the turnaround for planes, it's probably going to last a lot longer because they're going to have to clean everything, especially like if you get off
one flight a day.
Well, yeah, it could be. There's going to be higher fares for sure. It's going to be higher fares. There's also going to be fewer destinations as well, like fewer links. And also, how you like to look at your music or your movies or whatever for at the screen in front of you. Okay, I don't know how they're going to deal with that because either they will have to get rid of that or they're going to have to clean every single one of those things, which is going to take kind of a lot of time, between flights. So you're going to have less flights for sure. All that. And it's going to be like, I kind of see it as airlines acting as, this isn't an airline thing for you guys, but I see it as like most carriers are going to act like low cost carriers, how they barely have the necessities or whatever. Foods and drinks, well, I don't know what they're going to do with that. And because, people are sipping on it and stuff and, they might get rid of
Heaven forbid
free
someone
food.
should sneeze on the plane.
Yeah.
You have to emergency grounding.
Anyways, this is what is. I will actually keep you guys posted on what I see happening if I find something like how life will be different for you guys. Okay. So this is one of my last ones, but Americans are using their stimulus check to buy Bitcoin. I told you that 2 weeks ago. That they were going to buy it. I knew it. So, yep. They're definitely doing that. Actually, in Coinbase came out with an article or whatever saying that they had a crazy amount of $1,200 purchases for Bitcoin, which is just so funny.
That's so
Okay. Back to the supply chain. Almost done with this stuff. We're going to go through these pretty quickly. So I'm just going to go through this just so you get an idea of why I say the virus is going to be a walk in the park compared to this.
Long-term effects play out.
Yes.
So each week that we go live, it's going to be probably another example.
Yeah, exactly. Of the snowball. Okay, surging meat prices coming to a store near you. I can't read that, but let's go to the next one. Okay, U.S. and Canadian plant closures. Meat production impacts meat production capacity.
So that's why meat's going to go up.
Absolute. Meat's going to go skyrocketing. So more food supply chain disruptions. And this has to do with vegetables. Okay, meat prices spike, cattle prices fall, and ranchers and lawmakers see market manipulation. There's going to be a lot of money for some people. They're shorting the crap out of, or they're going long because when you have a supply crunch, prices skyrocket. So, like I said last week, that being in quarantine is a luxury. And you may think, what are you talking about, you idiot? Well, let me tell you, because a lot of people around the world, probably the majority of people around the world, need to go out every single day to get food. Like, this isn't just, walking to the supermarket and getting your water, like having like plumbing and stuff. I mean, that's a luxury, guys. Heidi and I have traveled to countless countries, and we understand like what people have to go through. Like, there's some crazy stuff, and it's going to kill a lot of people, especially with all these rules and regulations, and supply chains. So this is why I say, the virus, the whole thing with the virus. So, okay, so let's go on the next one. Okay. So I forgot where I got this from, but the world has never faced a hunger emergency like this, experts say. It could double the amount of people facing acute hunger to 265 million by the end of this year. Double. In the largest slum in Kenya's capital, which is Nairobi, people desperate to eat set off a stampede during a recent giveaway of flour and cooking oil, leaving scores injured and 2 people dead. Okay. So I've been to Nairobi. I've been to Kenya, and it was a pleasant place. And now they're really struggling. In India, thousands of workers are lining up twice a day for bread and fried vegetables to keep hunger at bay. So this is just beginning. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to be in a lot of trouble, and they're going to starve to death because of not the virus, but because of the lack of trade. Food supply or global food supply chain being absolutely shattered through this. Okay, so UN agency chief says world on brink of hunger pandemic. So I'm just coming out with these articles just to show you guys that it's not just about a virus anymore. This is not a virus. It's not about a virus anymore. Like, there's much bigger issues at stake. I had this thrown in there that has nothing to do with hunger or whatever, but it does happen to do with mortgage delinquencies spiking like 25 or 30% because people are losing jobs and everything. So awareness is growing that the PPP, I think it's the Paycheck Protection Program, results in many people making more money by not working prior to the prior job. So I didn't put this in order really. That serious increase in labor costs of reopening, making it impossible for many small businesses to reopen. So how are they going to, they'd have to pay more to keep these people on, and people aren't going to want to work. So, yeah.
It's kind of like a death spiral. It's like they can't pay more because they're not having as many customers because the customers don't have very much money because they don't work. Or they have a stimulus check that they're living paycheck to paycheck.
Exactly.
45% of Americans don't have a savings.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
What you're saying
Oh, yeah.
at
So
the beginning, yeah.
pretty much this was actually a note for me. I actually didn't know this until 2 weeks ago. I had this.
Self-employed can't claim unemployment.
Yeah, I actually didn't know that because I know that in other places they work, other countries they work differently. So, who's a Bitcoin? Who loves Bitcoin? All right, so this is from Raoul Paul. I read his entire.
He sent out he made it public, his monthly newsletter. Normally you have to pay probably a lot of money to get it, but he said that he felt it was important enough that it should be made available to the public. So if you can, definitely encourage you to read that. It's got some interesting insights.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly go over a little bit. All right, so Bitcoin. Okay, so he says gold will go up 3 to 5% in the next 5 years. Bitcoin, well, that's a different story. I think it can get to $1 million in the same period. I think it can go from a $200 billion asset class to a $10 trillion asset class. Gold, as a comparison, is around $15 trillion now, including paper gold. If gold goes up 5 times, it becomes a $60 trillion asset. Don't forget, the value of the dollar isn't steady. So the dollar comps are a bit meaningless. Okay, so what would it be crazy for it to be a $10 trillion valuation? You know, I mean, after all, it isn't just a currency or even a store of value. It's an entire trusted, verified, secure financial and accounting system of digital value that can never be created outside the cryptographic algorithm. It's nothing short of it's nothing short of the future of our entire medium of exchange and money itself and the platform on which it operates. And I totally agree. Like, I mean, we have
packaged up very nicely.
I mean, we're under 200 billion in market cap with Bitcoin. Way under it. Way under. I think it's actually 150 or 120 or something like that. I forgot. But like the amount of room for this thing to grow, I wouldn't be surprised if it reaches 1 million in 3 years, 5 years, whatever. Who cares? Like it's going to happen, I think. I don't see how it won't happen. You know, you have an entirely new asset class that millennials are, you know, they're looking at their stupid stock portfolio, making 2 to 3% a year and now possibly losing it now. And they look at this brand new asset class where they don't need to sign up for another brokerage account to send and then ask for permission to send, you know, your Bitcoin from your ledger to another person. It's like, there's no competition, guys. There's no competition with Bitcoin. None. Like the whole crypto space, like there's going to be maybe, I don't know. I like 10 or 15 projects out of everything, you know, that I've looked at. There's so many coming on that are probably all right. But like, as far as like Bitcoin, like, I mean, compared to like the legacy financial system, there's no competition. You can't send your stock of, you know, Apple to your friend in freaking Africa or whatever with a click of a button. You know, they'd have to have KYC. They'd have to have, you know, like begging their bank that probably isn't stable to go ahead and let them have a bank account that they can and then find a way to get an ID. You know, so they have to, you know, suck up to the bureaucracy over wherever they live if they can get an ID, which costs money. And like, now skip all of that.
There's a lot of hurdles that people in struggling countries have to go through. That.
Oh man, it's crazy. Like they have to have a nice, like, say for instance, like a Dalit in India. You know, they're the lowest in the caste system. You know, there's no way you'd be able to send them any like stocks or bonds or whatever. But you can send Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And we do that.
Yeah.
Which is great. Proud to say that.
Oh, it's this again. Okay. So
we're done.
That's a good ending.
No.
So, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. We covered a lot of information today. Ran over an hour. We still have a few people in there, so I appreciate all the likes. It's great. And
so we did try something different this time with the whole. I wasn't able to actually make the slides in order, and so I'm going to try my best to kind of get this in order, because I know how frustrating it is. It might be to I'm talking about hunger and then I'm talking about housing prices. Like, it's totally opposite. So it would flow a little better if I can figure out a way how to do that, which giving it a go.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. So
we're always improving over here at Crypto Tips. So I appreciate everyone in the live stream. Thank you for taking part and watching and, saying hi in the comments, contributing to the conversation. It's a great thing. We'll be back again Monday, noon Eastern time. In the meantime, if you want to get some bonus, communications going on, information about what we do with crypto, go ahead and check out patreon.com/cryptotips and join the CT Club.
So this person asked, did Sweden ever do a lockdown? I don't think so. No.
Our neighbor here is Swedish, and he said that they didn't.
Yeah, so they're they're good to go. Okay. Yeah. That's it.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again next week. Bye.